Welcome back to Macabre London's Abhorrent Advent Calendar. As you'll be aware if you've already joined me for the past 2 episodes, I'm counting down the days until Christmas, but not in the usual joyful way you may expect. Instead, I'll be telling you 24 gruesome stories until we hit Christmas Day, when you'll receive a full-length episode of Macabre London as your hideous Christmas present from me to you. Under door number 2, we learned of St. Nick's scary friend, Nektrupret, and his penchant for terrifying children. Today, we learn of a beast who may just well be more terrified of us than we are of it. If legend is to be believed, it's done a good job of staying out of our way for hundreds of years, with only fleeting sightings here and there. Join me today as I open door number 3 and go on the hunt for the Abominable Snowman.
Ho, ho, ho.
When you think of the name Abominable Snowman, what springs to mind? A block of ice with teeth, or a small white-furred ape clambering around Mount Everest? Unlike the Christmas card idea of a snowman, the name asks you to think more literally and imagine what a man who lives in the snow may just look like. The Himalayas are a treacherous place to live. Stretching almost all the way across Southeast Asia, the mountainous region has areas that are completely inhospitable to humans due to the extreme cold, the harsh terrain, and the fact that some peaks have very sparse oxygen as they're so high up. Some animals have adapted incredibly well to the harsh conditions, and creatures such as the snow leopard, some species of goat, and the incredibly hardy yak can all amble up an oxygen-deprived mountain without a second thought. These hardy animals seem at home in the challenging environment, but it's hard to think of an animal such as a humid, jungle-loving great ape scrambling around on the rocky outcrops. Unbelievably, there are some monkeys that can adapt to living in the snow, like the Japanese macaque, but the thought of anything larger than that medium-sized monkey hanging around in the mountains feels impossible. The Abominable Snowman, known as the Yeti, is one of the most well-known cryptids. An enormous bipedal animal, thought to be either a type of ape or a primitive human. The Yeti has been a legend in the Himalayas for thousands of years. Even when Alexander the Great, king of Macedonia and empire conqueror, went to Southeast Asia in 326 BC, he demanded that the indigenous people bring a Yeti to him. His demand was unsuccessful, as the locals said the Yeti couldn't be brought down from the high mountain as it would die, and there was no way they could survive at the height the Yeti lived at, let alone capture one and bring it back down to the foothills. Throughout the subsequent years, the legend of the Yeti has grown. Reports of the beast by locals say that it comes in a few different shapes and sizes. Some report seeing a tall bipedal humanoid, others report an ape which is covered in white fur, and some say it's more like a large bear with a human face that's brown in colour. One thing that is widely known is that it's a highly secretive animal and also not predatory to humans, preferring to stay away, which is why there may not have been any clear evidence of it being around. It does, however, leave tracks in the snow. Large footprints have been recorded on hundreds of occasions. There are a few ways to explain this. One could be that these are indeed the tracks of a large animal which has yet to be identified. It's not completely out of the realms of possibility that there is a family of animals that have gone undiscovered for all these years. New animals are being discovered all the time. Whenever people think of new animal discoveries, they may only think of insects or small species, but mammals are constantly being discovered. Granted, these are usually a subspecies of a species we already know about, but it's possible that there is a large animal roaming in the wilderness that has yet to be documented. However, animals as large as the snow leopard, the tiger and the Asian black bear have all been discovered living in the mountains, so it does seem unlikely that it's just been hiding for centuries. What's more likely is that these are the tracks of other large animals that have either crossed over their steppes and made a larger footprint, or as and when the snow has begun to melt around other prints, they stretched out to make a larger hole, making it look bigger than it originally was. The call of the Yeti has also been heard echoing around the mountains, but this may well be easily explainable. Many animals in the area have powerful calls. In particular, black bears have quite human-like grunts and shouts, which could be mistaken for the noises of a man-like creature. The landscape of ice and snow are also known to make noise, such as singing ice, which can sound like something shrieking. The mystery surrounding the Yeti brought more and more explorers to the Himalayas so they could go on the hunt for it. This brought in revenue into the towns, and it also provided jobs to the locals as they became guides, which helped people go on the hunt for this rare beast. Unsurprisingly, with more revenue coming in surrounding this enigmatic creature, this happened to boost sightings amongst the locals. But where did the term Abominable Snowman come from, as it's not anything like the word Yeti? A journalist by the name of Harry Newman interviewed some explorers that had made a trip up Mount Everest and had been lucky enough to return. They told him about the Yeti and said the Sherpa people had called the creatures Mito Kangmi, man-bear, snowman. Newman managed to get the translation of the word Mito wrong and thought it meant filthy. In a bid to gussy up his writing, he changed the word to abominable, and from that day on the Yeti now had a far more formidable name, making it even more exciting to go on the hunt for. By 1938, German professor Ernst Schaefer decided to look into the legend of the Yeti properly. He received money from the Nazi Party to investigate the cryptid in the hope that if they could find it, they could prove it was the primogenitor for the Aryan race. They left empty-handed. By the 1950s, Yeti fever had exploded, and the Nepalese government were very happy to cash in on the furore. They began selling Yeti hunting permits to the tune of £400 per animal. Many people bought a licence, but no one ever produced a specimen and left Nepal slightly lighter, having forked over the cash. Mythical, man-like ape creatures have been spotted all over the world, and these are believed to all be different species of the overarching family of animals. Sasquatch, Bigfoot, and Chachuna are just some of the names these beasts go by, and the interest in finding one knows no bounds. Even today, there are Bigfoot hunting groups that regularly assemble, and internet forums and YouTube are awash with grainy and blurry videos and footage of the beast that look a lot like a man in a suit. The Yeti may have survived as a mythical legend for all these years due to the way the indigenous people treat their folklore. To them, the myth of the Yeti is more than a cryptid. It's a message to everyone that lives there to be respectful of their surroundings. The Yeti is the mountains. It's the sudden change in weather, the avalanche about to happen, remembering to stock up for the winter, the tiger watching you from a distance. The Yeti is the danger of living somewhere as remote and unpredictable as the Himalayas. It's the reminder to always have your wits about you and to remember that the next day may be the one that kills you. And what better a way to make sure you have food in your belly and a sustainable income by selling that legend to tourists. With the invention of the mobile phone, now equipped with its super-duper megapixel camera in everyone's pocket, you would think if the Abominable Snowman does exist, we'd have caught a clear picture of it by now. Alas, not. Thank you for joining me for door number 3 of the Macabre London Abhorrent Advent Calendar. I'll be back tomorrow with door number 4, so make sure you join me then. Please like, comment, rate, review and subscribe on whatever platform you're enjoying this on, and come and say hi on my social media. If you'd like to help support the show, then you can do so by signing up to our Patreon, buying a gift from the Amazon wishlist, or making a one-off donation via the Acast supporter link. Thanks for joining me, I've been Nikki Druce, and I'll see you for door number 4 tomorrow.